Now at this time, I have great pleasure and indeed the honor to introduce His Excellency Francis REDHEAD, a fellow Grenadian who has been very close to Eric Gairy from the early days up to the time that he gave up government. Sir Francis was the Consul General under the Gairy government, and he has done a very fine job in pulling Grenadians together in this country and serving Grenadians without reservations. For those of you who know him, he's always that affable, lovable, smiling, happy person who infects others with his charm. He has made a contribution to Grenada which I think we ought to recognize, and there is no more fitting a person than Sir Francis to deliver the eulogy memorializing the life and death of Sir Eric Matthew Gairy. I now call on Sir Francis REDHEAD to deliver the eulogy.
Reverend Father Smith, pastor of St.MATTHEWS RC Church, celebrant of this Holy Mass, dignitaries here present, and all invitees. I want to first of all thank Tony for his wonderful work and what he has said of me, Tony Barry. I would like to say that we are gathered here today to pay final tribute and to salute the life and time of a departed friend and a great leader, the Right Honorable Sir Eric Matthew Gairy, former Prime Minister of Grenada, a native son whose life in the service of his people epitomizes a true patriot and a proven hero who superbly championed the cause of his exploited people. He was a stalwart and an exceptionally astute political leader. Eric Matthew was born in Grenville, Grenada on February 18, 1922, of humble but proud parentage. He was one of two sons of 4 children of Douglas and Teresa Gairy, whose life as members of a community and exploited people was based on a strong and unwavering belief in God and the practice of a Christian way of life according to Judeo-Christian principles. Thus, it is no surprise that young Eric attended St. Mary's RC School and was an acolyte, altar boy. Because of his outstanding ability and devotion to the church, he was chosen by the parish priest to deliver the sermon on the Feast of the Holy Family at the age of 12. He made a great impression on those who had the good fortune to hear him. Young Eric always had a distinct propensity to lead. He was a scout leader and captain of his cricket and football teams. He is described to have been of small stature, well proportioned, and to have had a piercing eye. He reminded us of many of the world's greatest leaders of small stature and the old truism that good things come in small packages. The scientific explanation for this is that what one lacks in brawn, he makes up in brain. Armed with special God-given talents and motivated by the real-life lessons of his loving parents, the dedication of his teachers, and the influence and mentoring of the first local Attorney General, C. Elmo Edwards, a relative and close neighbor in Grenville, Eric Matthew Gairy had a dream that one day he would be able to lead his people to freedom from colonial control and exploitation. He graduated from St. Mary's with an educational foundation second to none in the world, and became a teacher, the most loved and respected profession or vocation, second only to the priesthood in Grenada at the time, and for a long time thereafter. Fired by his boyhood dream and urged by the economic conditions in Grenada, he left in hopes of gaining the knowledge and experience necessary to lead his people. He traveled to Trinidad and later to Aruba. To this end, Eric Gairy wisely decided to forego the pursuit of formal higher education, as many of his friends sought to do, and instead immersed himself in the rough and tumble of leading his people abroad, first in Trinidad and then in Aruba, in the fight for better working conditions and remuneration for their labor. This is attested to by many of his fellow Grenadians and Caribbeanites who knew him in both places. He married the beloved darling of St. David's, Cynthia Klein, in Aruba in 1949. They returned to Grenada at the end of 1949, and together they had two beautiful girls, Marcel and Jennifer. In the political arena, they together formed the greatest political force in Grenada and the entire Caribbean. On his return to Grenada, Eric Gairy, armed with the knowledge and experience that he gained abroad, introduced the party system. In 1950, he formed the GLP, the Grenada United Labour Party, and was the first to introduce party politics in Grenada. His ultimate aim was to decolonize the country and people through political, economic, and cultural independence as the major milestones in the process. His immediate task was to improve the quality of life of his people by leading the fight for increasing wages and better working conditions. This he achieved with flying colors. The records show now that the common knowledge to every school child, the record that was shown now is common knowledge to every school child in Grenada. We now own our country. These words were spoken by Sir Eric Matthew Gairy, the father of our independence and leader of the Labour Party government, in his address to the nation on February 7, 1974, marking a historic milestone in the course of political development in particular and decolonization in general. Every anniversary year, we will do well to remember that the achievement of our political independence was another real test of the leadership, strength, and patriotic foresight of Eric Gairy, leading the political will of his people. The Grenada United Labour Party government did not stop there, but kept steadfast on its course as the unmatched, imaginative, and creative political genius of Sir Eric Matthew Gairy kept putting forth new ideas so far ahead of its time that the rest of the region is only now, decades after, catching up and trying to adapt and implement them. One good example of this is when, as Consul General in Grenada, in the Grenada Mission in New York, I was commissioned by Sir Eric to explore this and pursue the idea of a medical school in Grenada. Sir Eric, as usual, would not take no for an answer. When your humble servant developed the proposal after several behind-the-scenes meetings with Charles Modica and Patrick Adams, Sir Eric fought with great difficulty to get Cabinet to finally accept it. Today, people the world over know of the St. George's University School of Medicine and its great accomplishments. But regrettably, not enough of them know the contribution that Sir Eric has made, and many contributions he has made in the founding of the St. George's University. It was with the ultimate aim of economic independence as another leg of the decolonization triad that the National Industrialization Program Operation Bootstring was launched by Sir Eric and his Labour Party government in 1978, which was unfortunately aborted in 1979. Those of us who are familiar with the program could now only lamentably imagine how far ahead Grenada would have been today. Because of this certainty of direction on the part of Eric Gairy and his thorough knowledge of the needs of his country, Grenada was the first state in the Eastern Caribbean region to request and receive their comprehensive technical assistance project for the Organization of the American States to develop a national planning system, including the training of our local manpower to do our own national planning. The project was in full operation, covering all sectors of government in 1978, but it was scrapped in 1979. We are long convinced that the political record of Sir Matthew Gairy and the achievements of Grenada United Labour Party government under his distinguished leadership is a tough act to follow, notwithstanding mistakes he has made. The specific achievements are too numerous to mention here. What must be mentioned here is that Eric Matthew Gairy was not only the leader of the people, but also the hero who represented the greatest symbol of confidence in themselves as a people. The passing of Sir Eric marks the end of a great era in the history of people and calls forth a fitting quotation of which we must be forever mindful and which is urgently significant for us as a people. It states, and I quote, "If we fail to recognize the contributions made by the best and brightest among us, greatness will continue to elude us, if at all we survive as a nation. It is right and fitting that we pledge in his name and proclaim today that we will not fail to recognize the great contributions of his distinguished leadership to our people and nation. We will therefore not only endeavor to survive as a nation, but to pursue greatness as a people, mindful of the advances that we have made with his untiring help and leadership. Let us officially and unequivocally proclaim him as the father of our independent nation. Our political experience, since we lamentably lost the benefit of his capable and astute leadership, has shown that tragedy, as we have seen, is not only possible but highly probable. And it has convinced us that leaders are born and not made. That Sir Eric Matthew Gairy was a born leader, a visionary who fought to satisfy the dreams and aspirations of his people. He will be forever missed. Sir Eric's personality as a man and a leader exuded urbanity and self-confidence with an expressed mission to serve and lead his people to a better life. This was sensed by our people who developed a correspondingly high self-esteem and self-reliance, which is the essence of what Eric Gairy has taught his people. In this regard, Eric Matthew Gairy, once teacher, has never left teaching. Most recently, Sir Eric has taught us to reaffirm our faith in God. When he returned from exile to the United States to live freely among his people, helping the poor as only he knew how, and now dying a natural, peaceful death, during his colossal gathering of people in the death as he did in life. This testimony of love, not only of man, but of God. As a people with a strong belief in God, and now with a reaffirmed faith in him, let us pray that God will send us another born leader like Sir Eric Matthew Gairy very soon. May his soul and the souls of all the faithful departed rest in mercy of God. Rest in peace. Gairy.
Thank you, Sir Francis Redhead.